Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reading a book that I think everybody is going to love, including the mummies and daddies. Why, you ask? I'm glad you asked. This book is all about two little men who live in your teeth when you don't brush them. Okay, so the name of the book is Karius and Baktus, and it's by an author called Thorbjorn Egner. This book is in English, but it's actually originally Norwegian, and so it's been translated. I love this book. I used to read it to my kids to encourage them to brush their teeth because they didn't always want to do it. Chapter 1. Happy Days. Once upon a time, there was a boy, and his name was Jens. He had teeth in his mouth, like everyone else. But in one of his teeth, Jens had a cavity, and in this cavity lived two tiny fellows named Karius and Baktus. Now you might think these were strange names, but these were also strange fellows. They were so teeny-weeny that you couldn't see them except through a powerful magnifying glass. One of them had black hair and the other had red hair. They both lived on everything that was sweet and good, and they had plenty of that. They hummed and they sang, and when they weren't sleeping and eating, they were hacking and hammering away in the tooth to make their home nice and big and fine. But one day, one of them thought they had done enough. "No, Karius," he said. "We've been hammering and hacking and hammering and hacking. Now I think our house is big enough." But Karius didn't agree. "We have to make it much bigger," he said. "You must remember, dear brother, with all this candy and caramels we're eating nowadays, we're growing bigger and bigger with every passing hour." "No. Back to work, Brother Baktus." "Very well, it's back to work." But soon, Baktus took it easy again and began to wonder. He was gazing out of the window and over all the white teeth and started thinking about something really fine. Karius," he said. "What now?" asked Karius. "I was thinking, why don't we build another house high up in that eye tooth over there? I'd much rather live there than down here in this dump." Oh no, he's going to go to another tooth and make another hole. "Oh, you don't understand a thing, little brother. You don't understand that it's much safer to live down here. Think, if that nasty old toothbrush should come." Ah, they don't like toothbrushes. Then Baktus laughed. "Ho, ho, ho, toothbrush, that's a laugh. Jens never brushes his teeth." "Oh, don't be too sure," said Karius. "I remember a time when he brushed them once." "Only once?" "Once, yes. But that was weeks ago. Oh no, we can be safe here in Jen's mouth." "Well, if you're so certain about that, you can build wherever you like as far as I'm concerned." "But I want to live here," said Karius. But Baktus stood by the window for a long time. He stared up at the white eye tooth and thought about the future and was happy. "I'm going to live much finer than you, Karius. Just think, when there's lots of us in here and houses in all of the teeth, then, Karius, then I can sit like a king in my house and gaze over the whole city." "Oh, you're dreaming, Brother Baktus. It's not certain there'll be so many of us in here. It all depends on whether we get enough sweet food. Food, 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 said Baktus. We eat so much sweet food nowadays that we're ready to pop. It hasn't always been like this, said Karius. I remember a time when the boy ate only carrots and brown bread. Phooey! Then I nearly starved to death. You always have to talk about something sad, Karius. You always have to talk about carrots and brown... No, look, brother, here comes food. I guess it's only brown bread. No, Karius, it's white bread. White bread with real syrup. Bravo! Bravo! Hip hooray! Life is fine in every way. Here we have a special treat. All the sugar we can eat. Caramels, both large and small, are the very best of all. And of course, what's coming now? White bread, thick with syrup. Wow! Tra-la-la-la-la. Chapter 2. 2 days later. The two tiny fellows were having a fine time, but Jens, the boy who owned the teeth, was not very happy to have them there. Because teeny-weeny fellows like Karius and Baktus hack out holes and ruin your teeth. And this can cause toothache. And anyone who has ever had a toothache knows there's nothing worse. You'll hear more about that in this chapter, and it takes place 2 days later. Baktus has built a house up in the eye tooth. Now he's sitting on his balcony enjoying himself, while Karius is hacking and hammering away at the old house. Hello, Karius! Are you down there? You can certainly hear that I'm working. What are you doing? I'm making an underground tunnel from my tooth over to your tooth. That was smart, said Baktus. Oh my goodness, more holes, goodness. How are you getting along up there? Asked Karius. I'm fine. Now I'm sitting and enjoying the view. Only white peaks as far as I can see. But, brother, what's that whining sound? Shh, listen, said Baktus. I have such a terrible toothache. Oh, poof. It's only Jens who's whining, said Baktus. Could you hear what he said? Asked his brother. He said, I have such a terrible toothache, mimicked Baktus, and they both laughed. I think Jens is a real crybaby, said Baktus. Now I'm going to tease him a little, said Karius eagerly. Now I'm going to hammer in a spot I know it hurts. Listen! And then he hammered 3 times in a spot deep, deep down inside the tooth. Ow! 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 Did you hear anything? He asked. He said, oh, 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 said Baktus, and they laughed so hard their tummies shook. Do it again, said Karius. And Karius did it again. Donk, donk. I have such a terrible toothache, laughed both tiny fellows. You must brush your teeth, Jens. Karius looked up at his brother in dismay. Who was that? He asked. That was Jens' mother, said Baktus. What did she say? She said you must brush your teeth, Jens. Oh, woe is us, Baktus. If he comes with that nasty toothbrush, what should we do? We'll trick him into not brushing his teeth, said Baktus. We'll shout at him and tell him not to do as his mother says. We'll shout at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Don't do as your mother says, Jens! Don't do what your mother says! He's doing it all the same, cried Baktus. "I can hear him filling a glass with water. And here comes the toothbrush! Help, Karius, help! Hurry up, Baktus! Jump down here with me! It's safer down here than up there!" And Baktus dived down from his house and crawled in with Karius, and just in time. He had barely squeezed his pudgy little bottom inside when the terrible toothbrush came swooshing past, and water and foam poured all the way into the tiny fellows. I'm nearly choking from this nasty toothpaste," said Karius, spitting and coughing. "Listen to all the noise it's making," said Baktus. Three! There. Oh, he stopped at last. "Do you think we can sneak out now?" asked Baktus. "Careful. Careful," said Karius, and they opened the door a crack. "Oh, what a sorrowful sight," said Baktus. "What's the matter?" asked Karius. "Everything's gone. Not a bit of food left. Not a crumb left. There is nothing left to eat. Everything that's nice and sweet, mean old toothbrush, swept it away. All the food is gone today. There is not a single bite, not a caramel in sight. No more bread or syrup too. What on earth are we to do?" Chapter 3. At the dentist's. After Jens had brushed his teeth, he felt a little better. But it was not much better, because all the cavities are still there, all the holes were still in his teeth. And early the next morning, the tiny fellows started hammering again. It was then that Jen's mother had a bright idea. And you will learn all about it in this chapter, which takes place at the dentist's. "Why are you so angry, dear brother?" "I'm hungry," said Karius. "Something sweet will be coming soon," said Baktus. "It doesn't look like it." "Perhaps we could try to talk to Jens." Talk, said Karius. "He doesn't listen to us any longer. If we shout at the same time, he might listen," said Baktus. "What'll we shout?" asked his brother. "Let's shout, 'We want white bread.'" "Very well, we can try," said Karius, and then they both shouted, "We want white bread! We want white bread!" "Open wide." "Did you hear something?" said Karius. "I heard a man talking," said Baktus in surprise. "What did he say?" "He said open wide." "That's funny," said Karius. "Perhaps it was the baker who said open wide," said Baktus happily. "Perhaps it helped to shout." "Look, he's opening his mouth. I hope it has syrup on it," said Karius. They waited a while, but no food appeared. Then Baktus became impatient. "What on earth? How long is he going to open wide for before something comes?" he asked. "Oh dear, look how light it is in here. It is as the sun. It's as if the sun had come inside," said Karius. "What do you think that is?" asked Baktus. "What do you think it is? Who says open wide?" "I don't know," said Karius. I'll give you a shove and then you can climb up and have a look." Baktus climbed up on his shoulders and peeked over the edge of the teeth. "Can you see anything?" asked Karius. "Oh, woe is me. What can I see? I can see a big lamp just outside his mouth. It's 10 times bigger than the sun." Oh dear. Can you see anything else?" "I can see a man in a white jacket." "Woe is me. It's the dentist." "Are dentists dangerous?" Dentists? Oh yes, they're the most dangerous of all. They'll fill our cavities. The dentist fills the holes, doesn't he? Oh, Karius, I'm afraid. What's that buzzing sound? Asked Karius. There's something big and ugly and shiny, and it's buzzing and whirring around, said Baktus. What do you think that is? What's going to happen? Oh dear, then it's a drill. It's coming closer and closer, shouted Baktus. What will we do? Help, it's coming over here. We must run away. Come, Baktus, come. Baktus jumped down and both tiny little fellows ran all the way to the back of Jen's mouth. They stood behind the innermost molar and watched in horror at what was happening. And then they became angrier and angrier. Look, Karius, now he's filling our cavities. I'm so mad. Shall we run over and bite the drill? Asked Baktus. We can't do that. It's too hard, said Karius. We can bite his finger. That won't help, said Karius. We can jump up inside his mouth and hammer on his teeth, shouted Baktus. He was fuming. No, Baktus, it's impossible to fight against the dentists. I wish there wasn't a single dentist in the whole wide world. Look! Now he's pouring water in our cavities. Oh, what a mess, said Karius. Look, Karius, now he's filling my nice house in the eye tooth. Oh, I'm going to run over and I'm going to bite him. Stop, Baktus. He'll just rinse you out. Look, now he's filling your house too, shouted Baktus, and Karius was so furious he was ready to pop. Stop that! Hey there, dentist! Stop that! He's not listening, said Baktus. He doesn't want to listen, said Karius. And now it's too late, said Baktus. Now he has finished. That was my fine house with a view and everything. Now my house is all gone. The dentist has filled the hole. And this was my big cavity. That's gone too, said Karius. Not even a teeny weeny cavity left, said Baktus. Where are we to sleep tonight? All the teeth are smooth and white. I'm so mad, so mad, so mad. Nevermore will I be glad. But there's nothing we can do. We're too small and helpless too. We're so tired, but we know there's no place for us to go. The final chapter. In the evening. Jens went home from the dentist. He was happy because he no longer had any cavities or a toothache. But how were Karius and Baktus getting on? Not very well. In this final chapter, we will find out what happened to them in the end. These are bad times, Baktus. Yes, dear brother, bad times. Nothing sweet to eat and not a place to live. Nothing sweet to eat and not a place to live. Phooey, said Baktus. Perhaps we should try to sleep here in this corner tonight. I'm so hungry I can't sleep, said Karius. No, said Baktus. But look, brother, now Jens is opening his mouth. Perhaps something good is coming. I hardly think it's anything good. Give me a shove, brother. I'll climb up and have a look, said Baktus. And Karius shoved and Baktus peeked over the edge of the teeth. Can you see anything? I see. What a sorry sight. What do you see? Said Karius. The toothbrush again. Baktus scrambled down as fast as he could. "What'll we do? Not a cavity to crawl into," said Karius. "Not a cavity to hide in," said Baktus. "Jens, Jens, mercy, mercy!" shouted both the tiny fellows. And Karius said, "We'll never bother you again. We'll never bother you again, I say." "We must hide, Karius." "Yes, but where?" At the same moment, the toothbrush came swishing along, and the foam followed. "Help! Help! The toothbrush is taking me!" shouted Baktus. "Hold on tight, Baktus." "I can't! Help! Help!" "Let go, you nasty brush!" "Help!" But it didn't help. They no longer had any cavities to hide in, so they were brushed out of the mouth along with the toothpaste and water and foam. They fell down in the sink and down through the drain pipe and far out to the deep blue sea. And there they are, sailing about, waiting for another cavity to crawl into. Now you might feel a little sorry for Karius and Baktus, but there was someone who was happy that everything turned out the way it did, and that was the boy who owned the teeth. That was Jens. So what did we learn from this story? We learnt how important it is to brush your teeth. When you brush your teeth, all those little fellows, Karius and Baktus, get whooshed out of your mouth. And if you do have some cavities, if you have some holes in your teeth, where do we go? Who will fix the cavities for us? Do you remember? It's the dentist. Make sure you tell your mum or dad when your teeth hurt when you have a toothache. I hope you enjoyed the story. Make sure you brush your teeth before you go to sleep tonight. Good night.